Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Miranda. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a painting process that I completed a few months ago around Christmas time. This was a commission painting that I created for a client. They provided me the reference photo that they took at Algonquin Park the past summer. And so that is what I painted, and I will insert a photo here so you guys can see what that looks like. It is a forest at sunrise, and as I mentioned, this was taken at Algonquin Park in Ontario last summer. But before we get into this video, I just want to mention that I have already uploaded the color and paint mixing for this painting that I created. So if you're interested in seeing how I created the colors that I used, you can find that video up here. And if you're interested in watching the faster paced version of this video with no talking, it's between 5 to 10 minutes. You can find that video up here as well. I recommend watching that one after you've watched the full length, and that way you can get the full in-depth experience, and then you can get a quick little synopsis at the end of what the painting looks like from beginning to end. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the painting process. We're going to begin by doing a light wash over our canvas. I've gone ahead and added some water to a couple of the colors that I mixed beforehand. I'm just using a large flat brush to apply this. Okay. Perfect. Also, I'm going to make sure that I get the sides. I'm going to be painting the sides on this piece as well. And the reason I'm doing this is because, one, this is more of like a sunrise photo, so there's definitely like some warm tones to it. As well, sometimes I just prefer to paint over a color that isn't white. Like for instance, I enjoy using wood canvases a lot of the time because the color of the canvas isn't just white, it's like an off-white, you know, the color of wood, which I like that. So that's why I'm doing that as well. I'm gonna start with our sky colors. I'm using my Filbert 1-inch brush to start applying these colors onto the canvas. I'm gonna grab a little bit of white, pop that here. This is a sunrise, so this is where the sun is rising from in this section. Looking at my reference photo just to see where I'm wanting to lay down my first colors. I'm gonna go in with some of my blue color, my light blue. I have a video where I pre-mixed all of my paint colors on my channel as well. So if you're interested in seeing how I mixed these colors for the painting, go ahead and watch that. I'll have a card up here so that you can get to that easily. Just kind of sketching out where I want these colors to go. I like to do that at first, the beginning of my painting. And I go back in with some more pink to this area down here. There's definitely some nice pinks here that we want to add. And I'm not being too heavy-handed right now with how much paint I'm putting down. Gonna go back over here a little bit, add a little bit more of these colors to this side. This side definitely has a little bit more pink. This side's a little more orange. Gonna go and apply more blue here, this section. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking at my reference photo to see where I'm wanting to place all of these colors. I'm gonna start applying just a bit of the water reflection where we can see like how the sky is reflecting in there. I'm just gonna apply a bit of that. A little bit more of like blues and white reflection over here. I'm going to start applying some of the darker blue cloud shade that you see more at like the top of the canvas, the top of the photo, I guess I should say. So we're going to start doing that. Again, I'm just looking at my reference photo to see, where it is that I'm wanting to place these colors. And again, I've pre-mixed all of my colors, so I don't have to worry about having that done. And then going in now with some more of this pink color that you see in the clouds. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more of this darker pink to this area here. All right, so we're moving along in the sky. I'm using my same brush. I've been using the same brush for this whole section so far. I really like using this brush specifically. I use this brush all the time for my sky paintings. I love this brush for my skies. So I'm going to continue to use this one probably for, well, I don't know. We'll see. For probably the majority of the sky. But yeah, we're just going to keep going. I need to apply some darker colors to this area. So I'm going to do that. Mixing a couple of my sky colors together. I mentioned this in the color mixing video, but this painting is a commission that I'm doing for Christmas. So the client that I'm doing this for provided me with the reference photo, and that's what I'm painting here today, if you're wondering. I'm going to focus on adding a bit more pinks into this area, just based on looking at my reference photo. I'm going to be finishing up my, like applying my colors for my sky in a moment here. I might go back and add more later, just depending as I can do the painting. I'm going to switch to a different brush for a second. This is my Princeton Aqua Elite. Here we go, my Princeton Aqua Elite round number 6. Just to kind of add a few more like details in the clouds, because I'm not really, that other brush is just a little too big. I can't really add certain details that I want to. So yeah, I am getting very close to being done applying my colors to my sky. I don't want to do too much right now. Like I can always go back and add a little more if I want to. What I am going to do is I am just going to grab this bigger brush. This is a Winsor Newton Cotman mop brush. So I'm going to use that for a second. I'm just going to grab a little bit of these darker colors for this section. And using a bigger brush, I'm kind of just going to lightly put some darker color here without trying to use too much color. Just to kind of blend it in, make it look more fluffy and not so, just like blend it in, I guess, a little bit better together like that. And just to kind of create some bigger shadows is what I'm trying to do as well. And then I'm going to go in with some lighter blue. Oh, shoot. That was not intended. See daisies? And like I said, I'm going to go in with a little bit of lighter blue here towards the top. Gets a little bit more blue up in here. Just want to make sure that I have that as well. Just creating a little bit of like light in the clouds. Just going to get a little bit of more pink as well. Just going to add a bit more pink. Certain spots. All right, so we finished adding our sky colors for now. Like I said, we might go back later and add a few more things. I'm going to start adding more, and I have also, before I continue, I have also kind of sketched out some of the water. I do know where that's going to be going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue adding some water here of the watercolor, and also starting to add the foliage in the background. And I'm still using my same filbert brush to apply this. I'm going to switch now to one of my Princeton Aqua Elite brushes. This is the 1/4 inch stroke brush. And then I'm just kind of going to lightly brush some more like very watered down blue with my lighter blue color, just to kind of apply in these areas. Like you're not going to be seeing those areas as much because it's going to be like where the trees are and whatnot. And there is some pink in the reflection in this between the space of like the tree branches. There is like some pink in this side, so I'm gonna make sure I have that over here. And then as we go onto this left side, it kind of starts fading more into blue. So I'm gonna have more blue on this side. All right, I'm gonna start with that for now. And I'm going to go in and I'm gonna start applying my tree line in the back. And I think I'm gonna switch to my number 6. I used this brown before, Aqua Elite brush, the round one. And in the background, before I apply my green for the trees, I'm kind of going to apply a little bit of more of like the sky color, just to have that like behind, kind of shining. Just kind of honestly not being too concerned about this part of the painting. Just wanting to apply definitely a little bit of like the lighter color behind it. You can see over here, where this one is. Based on the reference photo, you can see where that tree is. So that's going to be my first little layer that I put down first. And now I'm going to focus on applying more greens. But I'm going to be very, I'm not going to be too precise with this. I actually think I should change my brush perhaps, because I don't want it to be too precise. I'm going to switch back to this stroke brush, same, the one, my 1/4 inch stroke brush from Princeton. Switch back to that one. Okay. And I'm going to go in with some green now. Again, I pre-mixed all of my colors beforehand. So if you're wanting, you can go and watch that video to know how I got these colors and whatnot. Okay, I switched back to my filbert brush, and honestly, I'm really liking this brush for this painting, so I'm just going to keep using this one. And I'm just kind of looking at my reference photo to see where I want to put this and where I want to put these colors. Exactly. Blend that out a bit here. Oops. I'm going to go in and apply some of these sky colors that I have here to my trees, just to kind of, you know, see that sun behind it, because this is where the sun is rising. And now I'm going to go back in with, let's see, what brush? My round brush that I didn't want to use before, but now I want to go back to use this one. And Just gonna continue to darken these trees a bit. And like there is going to be, you know, there's trees in front of this too, so you're not going to be able to see all of this, but you want to make sure that, you know, wherever you can see this, that it's, you know, there's paint there. Just kind of using a tapping motion to apply my trees. I'm going to go back in with my filbert brush and just apply some of my green to this here, where like the tree line would be blending in with the water a bit. I'm going in with this brush. This is a cool brush that I have. It's from, what brand? This is from Royal and Langnickel. This is a, what's it called? Ooh, I'll have the name below. It's just a bunch of letters and numbers, but it's from the Zen collection. That's what this one's from. And I like this one for foliage. It's really good. You know, you can see it's like it looks like little fingers, but it works really well. You just like apply foliage. Just kind of tap. I'm gonna stop putting anything back here for now. I'm going to continue sketching out the rest of the painting. So I'm going to sketch out the trees that are here, as well as just like the land, basically with more of my shadow color. That's what I'm gonna do at this point. And I'm going to use my filbert brush for this. I'm kind of going to mix two of my shades together, more of my brown shade and my darker green shadow color, to just begin sketching out the rest of the painting. And I'm going to also water it down and keep it pretty watered down so that the consistency is not too thick. Start over here. All right, so we're going to continue just sketching out the darker parts of um, the foliage and the trees in this section. I'm actually switching to this brush here. This is a Princeton Aqua Elite 1/2 inch stroke brush. So I'm going to switch to this brush here and going to create a very dark color for the shadows, because as you can see, like, it's almost black where these shadows are. So we definitely want to make sure that, like, we can see that this is dark. Here. And there's like a little something here that's dark. So I'm gonna add that as well. There's like little branches and stuff that I'm not going to do those yet, because like those, I just don't want to make them too big with this brush. I'm just genuinely like kind of sketching out my stuff right now. And I'm just looking at my reference photo to see, you know, where I'm wanting to put all of these dark. Like, I'm looking and literally seeing where's the dark color, and I'm just placing it where it is. And this is just like the very, you know, first basic layers that I'm putting for these trees. So it doesn't need to be, you know, super specific. Right. Some darkness here. Another little tree in here. And now we're going to sketch out this other tree here. Again, just looking at my reference photo to see where I want to put this. Or I guess where it's supposed to go. Whoopsie. Okay. And the top is like, it's a little taller than this other one. Again, just looking at my reference photo to see where am I going to place my colors, where the branch is located on this. This one comes pretty far over here. Coming back over here, there's a little bit of shrubs there. And yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit darker here. There's just like little branches and things that are kind of just coming out of here. So I'm just going to kind of lightly start placing those in here. And again, I've said this many times, but I'll say it again because it's worth mentioning. I just am literally looking at the reference photo to know like where's the dark colors. Like that's how my mind works. It's like, okay, I'm gonna place the dark colors first because it's easy to just sketch things out first when they're nice and dark. I don't know. Just personally for me, my mind works like that. If that's not how your mind works, that's cool. You know, you can do however works for you, but I like doing it this way personally. And perfect. Just gonna go in and kind of put a little bit more darkness in here where it's super dark. Oops. All right. And then I'm just gonna bring a little bit of color down in here. This up for a second so I can get down there. Get a little bit more of like my mid-tones that I've mixed here. Mix it with my shadow shade a little bit. And I'm just going to slowly just kind of shade in some colors here. I'm going to apply a little bit of that lighter green that you see kind of more at the front of the painting there. Start. We are continuing our painting today, and what I'm going to do now is I've looked at my reference photo for a couple of minutes before continuing to paint, and I'm thinking that I want to definitely try to add some more pink tones into here as well as up in here, and then kind of more purple as well, just a little bit to match the reference photo as best as I can. To do that, I'm going to be using two brushes. I'm going to use, both are from Princeton. The one is from the Velvetouch collection, and then this one is from the Aqua Elite collection. This is a 1/4 inch oval mop brush, and then this is a number 12 round brush. So both of these will just kind of help me create more softly and blend it, because I'm going to water the colors down a bit just to almost like kind of create a filter on top. So just looking at my reference photo and seeing where I notice more pink, kind of just going to start applying that. Then it's also got some more orangey, peachy colors down here. So I'm going to apply some more of that as well. And then moving my way up the canvas towards the top, or the top of the clouds, blending that upwards. Over here, there's some more pink over here as well. Kind of doing like a tapping and blending motion. And like I said, I've watered this color down quite a bit so that it's not too saturated. And like I said, it's kind of almost like applying a filter on top. I'm also going to go in and apply a little more blue where I can kind of see in the reference photo that I just haven't kind of missed that spot. So I'm going to go back in and there. And yeah, at this point, like I said yesterday, while I was doing the first colors of the sky, I might go back in and add a few more things. So that's what we're doing now. Just going in and applying our final touches to the sky. There's definitely some like lighter blues in this middle section, so I want to make sure that I get that as well. Starts coming up around here in the corner, so we're going to apply that as well. I'm going to go in and apply more pink in this section here. And I'm just looking at my reference photo to see where I'm wanting to put these colors, as I mentioned before. Just got to be careful, make sure not to cover any of that work that I did yesterday. The trees. Now I'm going to go more in this area and try to apply more, just a little bit more like a purple tone as well to the to these clouds, and just apply a little more darkness. I feel like I didn't apply enough yesterday, so I'm going to go in and just I think I'm going to stick with this brush though, like in this one right now for the clouds. All right, I'm going to take this large 1-inch round brush, well, a mop brush from Princeton, and I'm just going to kind of diffuse the clouds a bit. Now that I've gone ahead and kind of applied my last colors. I did wet this brush a little bit before as well. Just applying my last details of pink to the clouds. And I'm also going in and applying my last highlights of this light blue color in the sky. Now that we have finished the sky, I'm going to go back and apply some more color to the water as well, some more pinks as like I did just now in the sky. I'm going to do that similarly in the reflection in the water. Specifically like here, you can see that's definitely more pink in the reference photo. So I'm going to put a little more pink tones in there, and I'm switching to this brush. This is a Princeton Aqua Elite stroke brush, and it's a 1/2 inch brush. I'm gonna go and apply some blue in this section where I can see in the reference that there's some blue reflecting in the water. As well over here, there's a little more blue, kind of like blue purple. Some of that in there. And as we come back over here, it's getting a more blue. So I'm going to go in and apply, clean my brush off a bit, and then go in and apply the blue. Kind of like a blue pink, so just mixing those colors together. Making sure to go into the parts where the trees are so that any space in between the branches, you can see the water's reflection in there. And I'm just finishing up this section now for the water. Just looking at my reference photo and seeing where else I want to apply any colors. I might go back and add a little more later if I feel like I need to, but I think for now that's pretty good. So I use the same brush for this section, and I've just been doing a sweeping motion to blend these colors together. We're going to continue working on our trees and our greenery in the front. I'm going to use two brushes for that. The first one is from Royal and Langnickel. It is the Z9 3T brush. It's like a flat brush. And then I'm also going to use this brush from Princeton Velvetouch collection. It is a fan brush. I'm going to begin by doing my shadow shades and kind of tracing out the branches in the trees to start. I'm having a very light hand and I'm holding the brush very lightly. With branches, it's nice because You don't have to worry, like they're very, you know, loose. You don't have to have a super steady hand. So, I'll go in with a smaller brush later to do any like little details that I want to add into these little trees. So I'm going to go back, oops, dark. I'm going to go back over here and apply any shadows that I can see that are there. Okay, and I'm going to start placing some shadows in these tree branches as well. I'm going to switch now to my fan brush to start adding the foliage onto my trees. I'm going to start with my darkest color. Okay, guys, I switched to this brush, this one that I was using yesterday, the Z93TW from Royal and Langnickel. I'm going to start with this one actually, because I'm able to kind of get really smaller details with how the bristles are on this brush. So I'm going to switch between this one and my fan brush as I do this. Moving on, I've moved on to this tree here. I'm just doing the same thing that I was doing on this other tree, just starting to apply the foliage. I'm also going to start using this brush from Princeton, Aqua Elite, round number 6 brush, to apply any super fine details in the trees, like any really small branches or anything like that. There's some of those down in here. Do that. Now that we have put down a good amount of our trees, specifically like the shadow colors, I'm going to start tracing in, or I'm going to start painting some of the other foliage. So like there's that kind of tree shrub that's in front here, and then all these other things down in here, I'm going to start painting those. I'm going to use both of these brushes that I was using before, this flat brush and then this fan brush. And what I'm going to do first is any kind of dark, blacker shadow colors that I see in the back, I'm just going to put those in so that you worry about that and it'll be there for me. So I'm just looking at my reference photo to see where I want to place this color. I'm just going back in now and applying some dark shadow color. So that's my black mixed with my dark green to any areas that I can see now as I've been beginning to add this other color that it needs more shadows. So that's what I'm doing here. Continuing my trees in this section with my foliage. I'm going to start applying some of the greenery over here. I'm going to go in now and I'm going to start applying some of the mid-tone colors to my trees. And I'm using my number 6 round brush from the Princeton Velvetouch collection. So just where I see on my reference photo, like the lighter colors of the foliage, that's basically just what I'm going in and applying now. I'm going to go in and also I'm going to go back and forth between my midtones and my shadow color, just where I see that I need any more of that. I'm going to start applying. We're in the final stages of completing our painting. So what I'm going to work on now, I'm going to add a little bit more details to my pine evergreen trees. I'm going to start by adding a few more shadows and then building up to my highlights. In certain areas where I look at my reference photo and I can see that there's definitely more shadows, so that's what I'm going to focus on just a bit. Using I'm using my Princeton Aqua Elite stroke brush, the 1/4 inch. And I'm using a very light hand, not applying much pressure at all. I'm just looking at my reference photo to see where I want to put these colors. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, this tree. Just doing a very light tapping motion to apply this color, because at this point we're just really focusing on details and just finishing up painting. You definitely don't want to have, too much of a heavy hand, depending on what you're doing. Define some branches a little more. I'm gonna go in now with my Princeton Aqua Elite brush, my long round number 6 brush, and just to do any final little detailing with any very small little branches. As you can see, there's some of those down here, so I want to make sure that those are nice and detailed in. Going back in with this Zen 1/2 inch brush from Royal and Langnickel to finish up applying any kind of details to my trees here, my pine trees. I'm going to move on and finish doing this front kind of tree here. Switching back to my 1/4 inch stroke brush from Princeton. Again, I am just looking at my reference photo to see where I'm wanting to apply my shadows, my highlights, midtones. Switching back to my long round brush to just really detail these little, it's kind of like a willow tree, I think. That's what the kind of tree this is. So just to kind of define those little branches and leaves. I'm going to switch now to my Princeton Velvetouch fan brush. This is the number 10. And I'm going to start continuing my kind of foliage and greenery down here. Just going to go in with various colors. Again, looking at my reference photo to see where I'm wanting to place these. And as we move closer towards where the sunset's kind of happening here in the water, I'm mixing my kind of pink and warm tones in with, for instance, this more gray color that I'm using to emphasize the color of the sunrise on the plants and the foliage here. Again, gone back in with that brush from Royal and Langnickel. I'm going to be now really focusing on like the front few details. So like any kind of grasses or anything that's right here, I'm going to detail just a bit more. And then, yeah, I mean, we're pretty done, pretty close to being done this painting. I'm still using that one brush from Royal and Langnickel. I'll have, and this one's the Z93TW. I'll have the names of the brushes below as well if you're wanting to get any yourself. Like I said, just detailing the very front now. Hey everyone, we're just honestly finishing up the details at this point of this painting. I'm just finishing up anything that I want to put in the front. You know, I don't want to detail this area too much just because it's very much just like weeds and stuff, and I don't want to define anything too much because weeds and things really are not super defined. I'm just going in and putting any green anywhere that I feel like needs it a bit. I'm just gonna kind of blend it into as we go back a little further. Just going to go in with my fan brush here to add any more little details there to the front. And I'm just using my big mop brush to kind of just blend that out a bit. Now what I'm going to do is I am done doing the painting, and I'm going to focus on finishing painting up the sides and adding my signature to the front. And then I will show you guys what it looks like at the very end. But we have finished up this painting. I am done for now. And looking at my reference photo, I think that I'm pretty happy with how this painting has turned out. And here is our finished painting. I've gone ahead and painted the sides as well as added my signature in the corner here. And that concludes today's Paint With Me video. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. I know these videos are a little bit longer, so anyone that gets till the very end, I appreciate you and for supporting me. And I hope that you were able to learn a couple things, a few more techniques that you can apply to your next painting. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.